Greetings, fam and friends. How are you? Today, I'd like to talk to you about the fam, the gens, and home during these times. So, the gen is short for generation. So, this message today is about intergenerational living, right? I remember in the area that I grew up, it basically you got a certain age, and then boop, you were kicked out of the nest, and it was like, some parents were like, I got mine, now you got your own to get. But in these trying times, there is now a shift in the trends. So, the empty nesters, might I suggest that these are great times for intergenerational living. With the way the economy is now, you're finding some people that are out of work, right? Some people are out of work. You're finding some people that are home alone, and we're not just talking about children, we're talking about adults. They're going through it right now, of all ages. They're home alone, especially depending on what their sign is. Some signs are a little bit more outgoing, their personalities, and for being stuffed up in the house for them is like torture. So this would be a great time. I talked to somebody today, and we were talking about, the person talks a lot, right? And I talk a lot too. But I realized that during these times, if you're a person that spends a lot of time by yourself, particularly during these times of the COVID and all, that you really don't have much interaction with people. You're not getting that stimulating dialogue. So, intergenerational living is a great concept. It has many, many benefits, right? So, might I suggest to you to try it? So what are the benefits of intergenerational living? Okay, one of the benefits is a cure for loneliness. So now you have people around, your loved ones, to communicate with, to bond with. That's a beautiful thing. So intergenerational living means that you're living in the home of several generations. It may be the children, the parents, the grandparents, maybe even some great grands, and everybody's in the house working as a single unit. So another benefit of intergenerational living is if you have elderly loved ones, you're taking care, mom and pop, they may be elderly, and living on their own for them could be like excruciating torture, because they too are not having that need for communication, for touch and interaction met. So this will allow you to move them in, or you move in with them. Now you can keep an eye on them, right? You can watch over your mom and your dad and your loved ones. That's how we did back in the day. And we know a lot of folks, some folks they go to the nursing home, but back in the day, we took care of our elders, right? We took care of our seniors. So this would allow them to still stay connected to family. And one of the trends that you could adopt is an old school in-law suite in the basement. If you have a basement that you're not using, turn it into an apartment. Now it is an in-law suite, so you don't have to worry about kind of being on top of each other. Depending on your budget and depending on the space that you have, you may even be able to put a kitchen down there for that. So this allows you to keep an eye on your loved ones up close, but still allow them to have that feeling of independence, right? So that's another benefit of intergenerational living. I don't know about you guys, but when I was a teenager, teenagers, they can be something. Can't always put all of them down on the basement, because especially if you got a back door, you guys know, some of y'all know back in the day, the little parties, sneaking folk in and out of them back doors. Intergenerational living will help cure that. Why? Because when I grew up at my mom and my grandparents. So when my mom was at work, guess what? Grandma was always home, or grandpa, if he was at work, he was coming home. So guess what? We couldn't sneak folk in and out. They watched us close up. So that curbs certain types of behaviors, right? Because we always had somebody in the house. A lot of these children now, or what they were called, used to call before the pandemic, latchkey kids, because parents were at work and children were stuck home by themselves, and anything and everything was going down. But with intergenerational living, it allows everybody to keep an eye on the children, the little ones, and also those teenagers. They can be a little bit of a challenge as well, but it allows you to raise them with the village approach. So that's the beauty of the intergenerational living. So that's number 2. Again, keep an eye on the children and those teens. Number 3, it will help the economy of the family, right? I'm going to keep this for you. I love my Latino brothers and sisters. I love my Nigerian brothers and sisters. I love the Asian brothers and sisters. Why? Because they have no problem with living so many to a house. I remember back in the day, folk would laugh and be like, oh my gosh, it's like 15 people living in that house. Look how many folk pulled out of that car. It was like 15 people jumped out of that car. And everybody was laughing. I was like, I didn't think it was funny, because you know what? I knew that those folk were laughing at them all the way to the bank. Because why? And them practicing intergenerational living, it increased the economy of the household for better, for good, right? So let's say your mortgage is $1,500, $2,000. I don't know what your mortgage is or your rent. But imagine if you were able to divide that up by 4 people, 5 people, depending on how your house is. Now you have more money left over to do things like building your business, paying down your debt. So everybody that's in the house of our age can contribute something. And suppose maybe they're out due to COVID, right? They may be out during the COVID. They may not have money to contribute, but they can still contribute. So maybe that person, maybe they cook real good. That could be the person that is a designated. They do most of the cooking in the house. There is some contribution. They can help for those that are working long hours and still work. They may not have money to contribute, but they may be able to be of service in the house. So whether it's cooking, cleaning, watching the children while the others go out to do the work and bring the resources in. So that is of a benefit as well. So that's number 3, improving the household economy. So if everybody is working, now there is more money left in each one's individual pocketbook to save again, pay down debts, pay off student loans, right? Start your business. It's a number of things you can do because you're not maxed out in your finances. You're not robbing Peter to pay Paul. So that is another benefit. And other cultures have learned the importance of shared economics within the household. And this is what intergenerational living will do in this day and time. So especially if you have young folk that are married or thinking of getting married, they can save money for their marriage. Or if they're looking in this type of scenario, it would allow them to save money for their own house. And then when they get that house, guess what? They themselves can do it again. So guess what? Even with intergenerational living, you can also work on, if you have a mortgage, with all of the extra income coming from different folks, you can work on paying that mortgage down quicker, right? So now if your mortgage is $1,500, you can put a little extra more money to it to pay that down quicker so you can get that debt off you. So I just want to throw this out there about intergenerational living. During these times, this is a great time for family to come together, to work together, to stick together. I know sometimes we may be like, oh my gosh, we're crowded and we're all on each other. Oh my gosh, I need to get out of this. Okay, so I would say designate a certain area of the house. Is it the living room? Is it the family room? That's the area in your home where you go to play and hang out. You can make a lot of noise, and maybe you might have areas of the home that are off limit. So you can set up rules. Maybe have fun during these hours, but music goes down at a certain time. We can make it work. We did back in the day. This is how we grew up back in the day. So now we're finding ourselves going back to some of the old past. And that's not a bad thing. Some of the values and the morals that we've gotten away from, this situation is forcing many to go back to intergenerational living. So don't look at it as something bad. Embrace it and work on saving and building that family. So I hope this has helped jar you. So just as a recap, one of the benefits of intergenerational living is, one, you can keep an eye on your elders, those that are our loved ones that are aging in place or aging gracefully. We can keep an eye on them. Do an in-law suite. And that way they can still have the feel of the autonomy of independence, moving about independently. So 2, keep an eye on the children, the village. It takes a village to raise them. We need all hands and eyes on decks, right? So now you can watch the children. Number 3, it also improves the household economy collectively and individually. Those are some of the benefits. So I hope this has jarred your memory for intergenerational living. Don't look at it as something to frown upon, but embrace it. We did, and our ancestors did. Have a great day. Hope you've enjoyed this message, and you know what time it is. This is your Realtor with the Golden Keys. I'm actually Realtor with the Golden Keys on Flip My Hood. But if you know of somebody that's thinking of buying or selling a home, maybe perhaps your home is small and you like to bring your parents on board and you need a little bit more space, give me a call. I'll be glad to assist. Maybe you have a house that's too big and you don't have to say that. My house is so too big right now, and the children are gone. They're out of state. I don't see that happening for me. I really like to put my house on the market. Give me a call. I'll be glad to give you a comparative market analysis, which would be free of charge, and let you know what that would look like. Even houses are still selling in this time of the pandemic, and for that I'm thankful. And if there's any way I could be of a service, please don't hesitate to give me a call. So this is moi. This is your Realtor with the Golden Keys. I hope this has been of a benefit. Have a lovely day, and I'll see you next time. Mwah.